Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see such a large audience tonight. We've got a real great program, I think, this evening. I hope you will enjoy it. Believe it or not, this is our 21st annual Women's Health Forum. And I'm here with my Red Sox tie on today. That's the sign of a good politician, all right? You hit the right chord, okay? They might not like anything else I say tonight, but if I say something popular like that, then I'm okay. But believe it or not, we started this event at the Senior Center. We went to the Gorman Fort Bank School for a few years, then to the Cummings School, and now we're in this beautiful new facility at the high school. And this evening, we had some 30 informational tables that we had here tonight. So it's been such an amazing rise in terms of what we've been able to provide over the years, and I want to thank each and every one of you for that. I'd have to say this is one of my favorite events that I do have. I think it brings the community together. We get the opportunity to talk about some healthy living, and it gets me a chance to see so many of my familiar faces. Especially I see the Rose Napolitano and all the ladies from Revere here as well, who come each and every year. Emily Reamer's going to be here shortly. I want to thank her for taking the time to be here this evening. As an anchor and medical director at the station, I think we're all looking forward to hearing from her. We're also fortunate to have Astrid Weens from the Winthrop Board of Health. Thank you, Astrid, for being here. Not only that, I want to thank you for your service to our community here in Winthrop, and your expertise is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll hear from our partner, who is the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center is good enough to provide free flu shots each and every year, and they've done so again this year. And we're going to be hearing from the president of the health center, Manny Lopes, very, very shortly. Thank you, Manny, for being here. And also, I got my flu shot once again. So far, so good. It's been a half hour I haven't caught the flu, so. And also, I was told the Commonwealth Clinical Services tell me that my blood pressure is pretty good, which is surprising. I don't know how a speaker can have a good blood pressure, but I guess it's possible. But again, we have a variety of health and wellness participants from the region. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Your work in our communities is so important, is appreciated, and I have to say it doesn't go unnoticed. Before we do get started, I don't know, is Barbara Bishop in here? She's still outside. Chief, could you get Barbara for me? Imagine me telling the chief of police what to do. Well, anyways, as you could tell, I have strong control over the people who work in the office. But anyways, there are some people who are here who I would really like to thank for the staff. We have Whitney, Michelle, Ellen, Catherine, Seth, I think is on his way. He's always getting his flu shot, yeah. Dominic, Rosemary, I see Patty, who formerly worked for us, went on to bigger and better things. Beth is here. Who else did I miss? Anyone else from the office? Sandy, who used to work in the office, thank you very, very much. So thank you to all of the staff. A special thank you to Barbara Bishop right there. She's really the lady who puts this together each and every year. She starts working on it long in advance, and as you can tell by the number of folks and the number of informational booths that we have, she's the lady who does it all. Now we're going to have, it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker for the evening, the leader from the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. Please give a warm welcome to Minnie Lopes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's so great to be here. I can't remember how many years now that we've participated in this year. We're so happy to be co-sponsors in what I believe is one of the best events, not only in this town, but in the state, as it relates to awareness and giving everyone the health information that they need. Once again, we are so happy to be part of this great community. As you know, we opened up the Winthrop Neighborhood Health Center just a few years ago, and we have many staff members who are in the audience today, including our Chief Medical Officer, Jackie Fantes, who is a practicing physician at the Winthrop facility, as well as members of our PACE program, which I'll talk about just briefly here. But these are the people that really get all the work done. So as a community partner, we really feel like it's important for us to stay involved in the community, whether it's flu shots, farmers market, senior center events, or supporting your local sports teams. As I mentioned, we have two facilities here in Winthrop, the Neighborhood PACE Center, which is located on Sturgis Street. And if you haven't heard about the PACE program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, it's a way to keep older adults living in the community, living at home, and more importantly, living independently for as long as they possibly can. And it's one of the best kept secrets. If you saw our billboard on Route 1, best kept secret in healthcare. So please look for one of our staff, and I'm sure they'll be happy to tell you more about that program. But we're also really excited what we built here in Winthrop, because under Jackie's leadership, we have a center here that's really doing some innovative things. Many of you may know, if you can allow me to brag just a little bit, the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center, which includes the Winthrop Neighborhood Health Center, is one of the largest community health centers in the country. We're known throughout the country for the high quality of work that we do every single day. And in fact, last year we received a national award that was only given to 2% of the community health centers. Of the 2,000 community health centers in the country, only 2% were able to receive this gold award for national high quality standards. And again, just an example of the great work that the team does every day. We've also been innovative as it relates to IT, or information technology. For those of you on your smartphones, we have our own patient portal. We've had an electronic health record for the last 20 years called Epic. You may have heard about that. That's the electronic health record that's being implemented today throughout the country, throughout the world, and throughout the state, including our very own Partners Healthcare that we all recognize. And we've been running that program for over 20 years, as many folks are just beginning to adopt that program today. So a couple of little secrets about us that you may have not known about. The other great secret, again, led by our leader, Jackie Fantes, is a new model of primary care. How many of you struggled, I assume many of you come to the Winthrop Neighborhood Health Center, given that we serve 30% of Winthrop today, which is great. But in the past, I think many of us have struggled to try to get into your primary care provider when you needed to get in. With this new model of care called Open Access, we can get you in when you want to be seen, as quickly as you want to be seen. So if you call today, you will be seen today. And that's something that seemed like an impossible thing to do a few years ago, but today we've really redesigned our scheduling and our teams to make sure people can get in as quickly as they possibly can. In addition to that, knowing that health goes beyond just medical care, we've created an integrative behavioral health services, knowing that in some cases, you may not only be feeling well from a medical perspective, but you also may not be feeling well from a behavioral health or mental health perspective. And so Jackie works very closely with our Chief Behavioral Health Officer, located right there at the Winthrop Neighborhood Health Center, in a joint effort that if you're not feeling well physically or you're not feeling well mentally, they can coordinate that care with you right on the spot and get you the needed services. So these are just examples of what's happening right here in our town of Winthrop. And we have many people actually coming up to visit now. We have a group coming in from New Mexico and other parts of the country to look at these innovative models that we've adopted in a better way to truly care for individuals, keeping a community healthy, but more importantly, being a partner within the community. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to just say a few words. Thank you for allowing us to be co-sponsors, and thank you for allowing us to be your healthcare partner in the community. Oh, sure. I forget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker is a great friend, but a great endorser of our programs, and he just reminded me that a couple of weeks ago we did a fabulous ribbon cutting, and the Speaker was the Master of Ceremonies to open up our newest PACE location in Revere on Garofalo Street. Fabulous, brand new, looks over the Romney Marsh, big windows, and again, just an opportunity to try to keep folks who are aging in the community, living at home, keeping them active in the community, and providing the needed medical and healthcare services right in the neighborhood that they were, hopefully, that in some cases they were born and raised in. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for reminding me of that.
Thank you, Manny. It's now my pleasure to introduce Astrid Weens, representing the Winthrop Board of Health. She's a resident of Winthrop and an assistant professor of pathology at the Harvard Medical School, who specializes in renal pathology. This is one prime example, I guess, why we're so lucky to have her on our Board of Health. And again, we're very fortunate to have her here. Before she does speak, I'm sorry if I may interrupt, we have our guest of honor here, Emily Reamer from Channel 5, if you want to... That's okay.
So sorry. The traffic is horrendous.
You got stuck in the tunnel, right? But please give a warm welcome to, from the town of Winthrop, please welcome Astrid Weens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for inviting me tonight. Thank you also, Barbara. Is she here somewhere? There she is. For probably drawing the attention to what we do at the Board of Health. Dear residents of my beloved hometown of Winthrop, and dear people from neighboring communities that are here, I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak at this important event tonight. My name is Astrid Weens. I'm a physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital, and as the speaker mentioned, an assistant professor of pathology at Harvard Medical School. I have an active clinical practice in kidney pathology, very specialized. And in my lab, which I also have, I conduct basic and translational research in understanding mechanisms of chronic kidney disease. I was recently appointed to the Winthrop Board of Health as its vice chair, thereby joining two other outstanding individuals and residents of this town that I want to mention here. One is Bill Schmidt, AKA our policy and administrative expert. He has worked at the Department of Public Health for many years, so he has vast and longstanding experience in public health administration and policymaking. And he holds a degree in public administration from Harvard Kennedy School of Government. He's the chair of our board currently. Susan McGuire, AKA our quality enforcement officer, who keeps us on task and accountable for our actions, as expected for a nurse by trade, began her nursing career at Tufts University, and after 36 years, she recently retired from the Executive Office for Health and Human Services. Her expertise includes a lot of experience with quality improvement initiatives in healthcare. So these three people, I think, including myself and these other two individuals, really makes the board a very powerful institution in this town, and it's the only policy-making board in this town. I I believe, and I hope my colleagues feel the same, that the members of our board complement each other perfectly to achieve our mission. I want to read the mission here because it really includes everything that we do. The Winthrop Board of Health is dedicated to keeping the town of Winthrop a healthy and environmentally safe place to live, work, and enjoy. The board strives to enhance, protect, and promote public health needs, environmental protection, and quality of life for all. This includes assuring compliance with health and safety regulations and the crucial mission to prepare and respond to public health emergencies. We are supported in our mission by the Health Department, whose acting director is Deanna Ferretra, sits up here. Hi, Deanna. The Inspectional Services Department with its Commissioner Al Legee and Health Inspector Sharon Sicarella. I don't think they're here, but I want to mention them. And the Medical Reserve Corps with its coordinator Jean Maggio. Where's Jean? I saw her earlier. She's at her table where she's representing. Good. All of those quality individuals and their teams share our love for this town and the concern for its health and safety. I take my own role on the Board of Health as seriously as I take my job as a healthcare provider. The following quote describes the essence of my own philosophy: "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood." This quote is by a very famous scientist, Marie Curie, the first woman ever to receive a Nobel Prize and the first person ever to receive 2 Nobel Prizes, actually, in 2 disciplines, in physics and in chemistry, in 1903 and 1911. Public health achievements are of particular importance in the women's health sector. A famous quote by Harriet Beecher Stowe, as many of you know, the author of Uncle Tom's Cabin, sums it up pretty well. A woman's health is her capital. Important achievements in recent years that have revolutionized women's health care include, but are not limited to, the introduction of, for example, Pap smears and HPV testing and HPV vaccination, leading to a large decrease in cervical cancer rates. Others include pregnancy surveillance and birth control, and last but not least, also breast cancer screening, among many others. With regard to our own Board of Health, while we may have differences in opinion, style, and execution, Bill, Susan, and I share one common belief: the importance of understanding what we are facing before making decisions, commonly referred to as evidence-based decision-making. This includes an expectation that decisions will, number one, be made on the basis of the best available science. This involves me a lot because I'm a scientist. Second, it should fit the needs of our residents and give them the opportunity for input. Third, we need to be realistic given the resources available. And fourth, we need to include a plan for reevaluation at a later time once these regulations are in place. Having said that, I would like to encourage each and every one of you in this town to come and learn what we do by attending our monthly meetings. They are all public, all of them. And they're posted on the town website as well as on social media. It is important to voice your concerns and feedback. Only this will ensure that you all participate in the process. Don't be a keyboard warrior. The best decisions are made if stakeholders are informed and take and own their seat at the table. Some of our current and recent projects and achievements include, in breast cancer screening, we had the Dana-Farber Cancer Center mammography van in town on October 4th. I believe we had around 20 women screened there, so that was a great success. Flu clinics, we run them mostly by Jean Maggio, the Medical Reserve Corps runs those. 87 people to date were vaccinated this year. 200 doses were procured, and the next clinic takes place at the Senior Center this Saturday from 9 to 12. So if you don't have your flu shot yet and you haven't gotten it tonight, you have another chance on Saturday. Smoking regulations. The Winthrop Board of Health were pioneers in establishing smoking regulations in Winthrop that prohibit purchase of tobacco products under the age of 21, as well as ban flavored tobacco products. The state actually has now adopted just these regulations under the leadership of the Speaker. But it's important to mention that Winthrop was there before. We are not always the case, but in this case, we really were pioneers. We're currently working on an adaptation of the workplace smoking regulations as well. Another thing I want to mention is the healthcare collaborative between Winthrop, Chelsea, and Revere. The three communities are working together with local hospitals and healthcare providers to share best practices and also to create a community health needs assessment as a tool to establish some baseline measures of our health needs in this town and in Revere and Chelsea. And on this basis, build a community health improvement plan. So stay tuned for surveys, which will be sent out soon. We are also still looking for a Winthrop citizen volunteer as a steering board member for this collaborative. So please get in touch with us if you're interested in participating in this. In terms of community outreach, we are working with WCAT and its director, Mike Cabral, to create a series of informative Q&A sessions with experts on pressing public health issues. I just recorded the first one on Friday last week, and it's going to go on the air tomorrow. It's on mosquito control efforts, featuring representatives of the Northeast Massachusetts Mosquito Control District. I think a very relevant issue this summer. Hopefully, in the future, we will not have this many mosquitoes in town again. Another thing I wanted to mention, which is on our agenda for the future, are airport-related health concerns. We've started collaborating with the Airport Hazards Committee to assess airport-related public health concerns to Winthrop citizens, including predominantly noise concerns and air pollution. I think everybody's on board with that we need to get on this. So taken together in this day and age, our community health needs are endless, and they're challenging and more challenging and complex every year. To quote Marie Curie again, she said, "I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy," and that's true for public health as well. The Board of Health looks to tackle one challenge after another, and we're proud volunteers who serve our community to the best of our knowledge. Thank you for your trust, your support, and your attention.
I told you we were lucky to have her here. I also see one of Winthrop's town councilors, Linda Calla. It's great to have you here. And just one other thing which Astrid had just reminded me of was the fact that, in speaking about breast cancer, we have we participate in a walk each and every year. I think we've been probably doing that for how many years, ladies? We've been doing it all together now. I think it's over the 21 that we've been doing here, probably close to 25. But this year, we had some 4 busloads of people from Winthrop and Revere who participated, and I think we probably could have used another one. We had quite a crowd, so we're very, very proud of that. People from this local district who went out and walked the Esplanade to fight this terrible disease. So, especially to the survivors by the sea, thank you so much for your participation. Okay. And now we're going to have some remarks from our major speaker here tonight. Before I do that, there was someone else who I failed to mention earlier, Sophia from my office. I want to thank you as well for your efforts as well. Thank you. But we really have a terrific keynote speaker here this evening. Emily Reamer from WCVB's News Center 5, where she started as a morning anchor, now serves as an afternoon and evening anchor. Is that better? And we're especially thrilled to have her here today because she is News Center 5's medical reporter as well, which really fits in very, very nicely. And just by the way, Vicki, she just told me that vegetables aren't good for you. So when you try to get me vegetables every night, I'm doing the right thing, right?
Something got lost in translation.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay. I would eat them more, but you just told me, so I got to do what I got to do. But I would have to say also her medical reporting includes recent stories on prostate cancer and stress facing college students. She's produced stories on healthy eating and fitness and probing possible treatments for diseases including diabetes and Alzheimer's. She's a native of Andover, although someone said something about Arlington. Is that true? When I was coming over here and she's been using her social media channels to share information and reporting on the gas explosions in her hometown and neighboring communities, which just occurred very recently. She also supports, in addition to all of that, the local work of many organizations, including St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and the American Heart Association. She earned a bachelor's degree from Ithaca College and a master's degree in international communications from Leeds University in England. Emily has been a very important local media voice in Massachusetts whose stories have become a big impact on the way we understand health issues. It is my pleasure to welcome from Channel 5, Emily Reamer.
That was quite the introduction. Thank you so much. It is really nice to be here with you tonight. Health and wellness has kind of turned into a real passion of mine, even before I took on this medical role. So when they asked me if I was interested, it was kind of like, well, yes, it had to hold me back from going after it. So when Barbara reached out and said, hey, would you think about coming down and speaking to you? It was just a no-brainer to say yes, to come to join you all. But then I actually started about, if you're going to give a speech, you have to talk about something, obviously. And then I started to just, I had all these ideas kind of buzzing around in my head. I got a little bit overwhelmed because I'm just into everything. Everything that I hear about, I'm getting excited about. So my husband calls them campaigns. He's like, she's on a campaign again. Here we go. She's throwing out all the plastic. Where's the plastic? Oh, it's gone. There's glass now. All right, where are my Funyuns? Well, they're gone. There's broccoli. It's just, so these are my campaigns. That's what he calls them. I think the month that I made him and my co-anchors go sugar-free has scarred them permanently for life. I did make sugar-free desserts, and if you ask Randy about it, I'm sure he'll tell you they were delicious, also in quotations. So anytime I bring these things up, people just kind of, shake their heads at me. But the thing that kind of led me to, as I was thinking about all these ideas, what I realized is that for me, and I think possibly for many of you, is that health is sort of an evolution, and it changes based on where I am and what's happening, and even my day-to-day. So the reasons why we exercise, how we exercise, when, what we eat, if we try things like meditation or journaling, all of that changes based on our circumstances and our lives and what is working for us at that particular moment. So for me, that active lifestyle started in Andover, as the speaker mentioned. That's where I grew up. My family is all still there in the Merrimack Valley. I played soccer, I played softball. I tried out for the swim team one year and felt like I was going to drown after 30 minutes. So I was like, this is not for me, no. So I went back, tried cross country. That was a little bit better. But sports weren't really exercise for me then, and maybe your kids, your grandkids feel the same. It's about friendship and teamwork and competition and all of those things. So it wasn't, directly correlated with weight loss or lowering my blood pressure or my cholesterol. In high school, I actually taught cardio kickboxing classes. I was working at a local martial arts studio, and they offered it there, and she asked if I wanted to learn, and I said, sure, yeah, why not? So that was probably my first real experience with organized exercise as a way to, stay in shape, I guess. So I taught a bit in college, and while I was there too, they had this brand new state-of-the-art gym facility that was just awesome because it was shiny and bright and new. And so I really just kind of fell in love with working out as something that you do beyond, playing soccer in the rec league or teaching these classes. Endorphins, I think they're a thing. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. You just feel better after you kind of get moving, no matter what it is. Walking up and down the stairs 10 times, chasing after a 1-year-old that's eating something on the floor that's been there since God knows however, These are all things that just make you feel better when you get moving. So that first year, I, without even trying, lost about 10 pounds. And you hear about the freshman 15, and I had been so nervous, but I lost 10 because I was moving and I was having fun. And I think that was the key to it. I really enjoyed it. So that exercise kind of stayed in my life as my career started. I was in Albany, New York first as a one-man band. So when you do that, you are literally lugging. So all of the things that our photographer here is holding, yeah, all of that. And he's laughing because it's all heavy, right? Yes, exactly. So that's why I always offer to carry the tripod. So, I'm lugging it around like a pack mule. I'm going from county fairs to press conferences to court, and I'm just, bobbling along with all this stuff. And then I ended up in Columbus, Ohio to cover politics there, no longer one-man banding, and really got into running. That kind of became my thing as my health sort of evolved over the years. But overtrained a bit, had some sort of knee issues, and just decided that it wasn't going to work. I decided I wanted to run a half marathon, and it was 6 weeks from that day. So that's 13.2 miles. Can you train for that in 6 weeks? Probably not. No, but in my head, I decided that was a good idea, and I hurt myself. So that was a really good lesson in learning to listen to your body, in trusting yourself, and knowing the difference between ouch, that hurts, in a good way, and ouch, that hurts, I should probably go see the doctor immediately. So all of that's good, but now, you fast forward to today, and many of you may be in the same boat. My life's a lot more hectic than it was then. I have 3 boys, 6 and under, 4 if you count my husband. I work full-time. My husband works full-time. He travels, and there are often just not enough hours in the day to catch your breath and to even think about moving or exercising or eating well. But I think the thing that I realized in this evolution is doing those things makes me better, makes me feel better. It makes me a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, a better worker. It gives me a clear head. And so those things are not disposable. They're not expendable. And I really learned that lesson the hard way when I was working on the morning shift, the eye opener. So I was getting up at 2 in the morning to be to work for 3:30, to go on the air at 4:30, and I stayed through about 12:30. And at the time, my oldest son was 2, and my middle guy now was 3 months. So it was brutal. It was hard on the body, it was hard mentally, it was hard physically. So you're trying to adjust to 2 kids all of a sudden where you had 1. And I know you all know, your moms, your grandparents, your grandmothers, like 2 is different than 1. It's like going from 0 to 100 in like this, So I was trying to find the new normal in that, trying to find the new normal in my work, trying to see family and friends when my bedtime was basically the same time as my 2-year-old. I'd put him to bed, and then I would go to bed at 7 o'clock at night. And so the thing that I realized after a while was that the only thing that was kind of making me feel better and keeping me going was working out after work. So at 12:30, after being up since 2, I would pop myself off to the gym, and even if I literally walked for 10 minutes on the treadmill, I felt better, and I could make it through the rest of the day. Now, did that happen every day? No, because you're up at 2 in the morning, and my husband would say, shouldn't you sleep now? I mean, maybe you should sleep. But I knew that if I could just get in those 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was, it would give me the energy boost I needed to get through the rest of the day, to feel more patient, to feel more centered, to look at things with fresh eyes, and that's exactly what I wanted. So around that same time, I kind of discovered meal prepping. Do a lot of you guys meal prep? Anybody? You do? Yes, it makes a huge difference if you can do it ahead of time. So, we would make a bunch of meals on Sundays, have them all ready to go, boom, 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 in the glass containers that we now have. It was just easier. It was easier to do it. And when you're getting up at 2, going to bed at 7, you're kind of living like a zombie. So I learned to drink a lot of water, I learned to exercise, I learned to meal prep, all of these hacks that would somehow make getting up at that hour when your body does not want to be up, make it easier in that moment in time. And slowly, we just kind of found what worked for us. And I think that's what I've learned in my own personal health journey and in talking to nurses and physicians and everybody else, is that it is an individual process. And what works for me may not work for you. And what worked for you may not work for me either. And it's about sort of trusting that you're going to figure it out and that your body will tell you what you need to do. So a lot of trial and error. We still meal prep. I am on Pinterest all the time for recipes, looking for different things. So my slow cooker is like my best friend. I love it every single Sunday, even in the summertime, because it's easy. You can make a ton and it's there, it's ready to go. So I don't actually go to the gym anymore because I realized it was taking too long. If you have a hectic lifestyle, even 10 minutes to get to the gym is too long. So we built a little home garage or home gym in my garage, and I open the door, bye, and then I pop into my garage and I'm there for 30 minutes and I go back in the house and the kids are like, hey, and it's, you're back. And that has worked for me. That works. Just getting out there for 30 minutes totally has worked for me, even in the dead of winter. I have all these layers on, but it works. So, that being said, as with anything, some days, some weeks are better than others. So this week is not a good week because my husband's traveling and I've got, I was coming here tonight, which is great. Yesterday I was at Hub Week, I'm working in between. So, it is what it is. And so that just means that this week is going to be different. So I'm learning slowly to roll with the punches and just take it as it comes. And so maybe decide to park 2 blocks away and walk over. And it makes a difference. It truly, truly does. So I would say that I have found what works for us for right now. That's always the qualifier that I say, until I find the new normal and what works better at that time. Because, as the kids get bigger, things will shift, priorities will change. So, I guess I would say if I had any message in what I've discovered, it would just be to trust yourself and to know that your body knows what you need. And if you can just listen to that little voice, I think you're gonna feel pretty good. And the other thing I think I'm working on, and maybe you all are there, is that learning that taking that time to do that is not selfish and it's not a waste of time. It's what you need to be a better mom and grandmom and wife and worker and whatever it all is that you love to do. That taking that time will make you feel better, and if you feel better, you can give to everybody else in your life. And that is the hardest thing that I have not learned yet. But I'm hoping that maybe some of you have figured it out, and if you have, I would love to hear how you've done that. So it's an evolution, and I think that's just the way it is with me, with all of you, and with a lot of the doctors and folks that I talk to, is that it's changing every day, and we just have to try to keep up and listen to ourselves. So that's kind of my story. I hope it was interesting or shed some light. Well, it's been delightful to be here with you tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, when she was talking to me about that morning shift, I'm exhausted listening to that. Jesus. You got to tell your husband to make sure he doesn't do too many of those trips. I mean, you must be exhausted. I mean, God. Thank you so much. And Emily, if I may, I'd like to present you with a citation from the Massachusetts House of Representatives. An appreciation for your commitment and dedication to the people of New England, and as being for the keynote speaker for the 2018 Winthrop and Revere Women's Health Forum. The entire membership of the House extends its very best wishes, hope for future good fortune and continued success, and it's given this 10th day of October 2018 at the State House, signed and offered by the Speaker of the House, Robert A. DeLeo. And one other thing, before I present this, I just want to tell folks one thing. Sometimes when you see television personalities, you question, gee, what are they like in real life and whatnot? I can tell you, when we first called Emily and asked her if she would honor us with her presence here today, she was one of the nicest people, at least that's what Barbara told me anyways, to deal with. And I think says volumes in terms of what she's all about. So, Emily, thank you so much, and thank you for the great work you do for Channel 5.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is great.
Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And believe it or not, have a great holiday season, which we're approaching. And make sure you eat right and eat your vegetables.